Namaskar. Apologies for the slight delay. We had some technical issues. Let's join Shekhar-ji. Let's join Sridhar Chityala-ji. I'm so sorry about that. Sridhar-ji, namaskar and welcome to 𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗏's channel.
Namaskar, sir. How are you doing?
Sir, every guest of mine starts with the letter S, sir, including my name. I'm always confused. Thank you so much, sir, taking the time out. We had a little bit of confusion, all settled now. Sir, we have a very compelling topic to talk about. Last time when I had mentioned about this 1 trillion for illegals, people jumped all over me. Lately, a lot of Democrats, a lot of woke, a lot of left liberals, loonies, everybody watches 𝗏 and they believe that if they put a comment, then immediately the video viewership will suffer. Dream on, guys. But be that as it may, I thought it should be, we should clarify what is going on. Before we go to the program, I have two announcements. Breaking news that is going on in India. This book talks about how you can weaponize ricin, R-I-C-I-N. Ricin is something that you can get out of castor oil. If you take castor seeds, you extract the oil, what is left, the husk, from that you can create ricin. It's extremely dangerous. This thing has no antidote. And that's what this book talks about, Who Painted My Money White. Those of you who have read this thing, you will understand. Please do put in a comment on this column about your experience of reading that book. Sridharji, I'd like you to give an opening statement and then I have one more announcement, sir. Over to you.
Well, I think that the opening statement here is $1.5 trillion that everybody is alluding to true? The answer is yes. Because there was a $1.5 trillion bill to be passed by by clean bill to be passed through. And unfortunately or fortunately, it was declined outrightly. And very quickly, Democrats pedaled back, and they have come up with a formula and a framework, to see whether they can get this shutdown, eliminated, moved. And get the agenda going. So why did you come up with a clean 1.5? Because there was a there's a $1.8 trillion discretionary amount which was to be passed through the appropriations bill. They said, okay, they would make an attempt to get this $1.5 trillion through. I think Trump called the game, and end of story, Sriji. And then now they are. Now they have got a framework under which they can see whether they can still get this. And what's the core issue here? The core issue is three areas. Number one, they want to somehow get this Obamacare extra credits through. That's number one. And number two, they want to have pre-pandemic, post-pandemic programs approved. Number two. And number three, for some of the people that they want well-enabled workers who don't have jobs, but yet they are part of the system, and their Medicare budget to be approved. So it all boils down to this whole concept of, how do you kind of get the Obamacare and other kinds of money through. Now, why is it is important? They feel, Democrats feel that is important because it affects the poor segments of the society, it affects the vulnerable segments of the society, etc. Trump's question is, why should I pay? I can get the insurance agencies and others. I'll directly give it to people, who are the true, honest citizens of the country. And so we are back to square one, and which is namely, the additional credits for Obama will be a clean vote once the government resumes. And the second is that people who got laid off when this process commenced, in terms of the shutdown commenced, will be rehired. So at least they have something the Democrats, something to get back, and their pet project will be the pet kind of, I don't know what we want to use pet project to be. Pet project of funding all these people is at least off the cuff, and I believe the straight vote will go down unfortunately for the Democrats. So all the things that they thought that they could get it done is not going to happen, and it is costing the Democrats, notwithstanding the fact. It's costing the Republicans as well. So it's costing both sides of the fence, and they got to get the government back in order. This whole show looks like a straight pulled out of nowhere, very unwarranted, and unfortunately, United States again looks like a laughing stock when the two parties can't get their act together. Sriji.
Thank you so much, sir. We have a slide deck, but before that, I want to present with you something that we have been working on very hard in our labs. And this is a trailer, and this is a 4-part series on the Parasurama avatar, which a lot of us perhaps are not so familiar. What was the reason and what happened in that avatar and so on. So here is a small teaser. I urge you all to watch it because it will give you an idea of how far our graphics team is concerned. Can you have a full screen, please? Who was Parasurama, who led a life of devotion, dedication, and daring? Why did he take birth on the earth? Was it to eradicate corrupt Kshatriya rulers who had become tyrannical and oppressive, or was it to bestow daya for the needy? These episodes will start airing soon. Sridharji, question for you. You are very well versed with Carnatic music. Can you guess the raga?
No, sir. Sorry, I have to. I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No worries. Viewers, it is based on Hamsanandi. It's a very beautiful raga, and that's what we used it. And we'll keep regaling you with more stories and more such tunes. Let's get back to our mainline programming, sir. Let's go to the next slide, please.
Yes, next slide. Yes, so the 1.5 trillion drama. Are Trump's assertions true? No, Trump is asserting based on the fact that there was a $1.5 trillion clean bill that was put on the table. Other than that, I don't think that there is anything substantive to say. Why do these guys need $1.5 trillion? Okay, well, let's break down the shutdown. And $1.8 trillion, which is what you call part of the discretionary budget, and that usually gets passed through the appropriations bill, is hanging there. This is the unfunded budget. And then where is the 1.5 trillion catch? This is what we are trying to analyze and let you know. Okay, next slide. Okay, are Trump's assertions true? The answer is yes, it's a mere number, and he's making a political hue and cry of it. Rather than the substantial truth behind that, the $1.5 trillion is all going to illegals. Next. Okay, let's look at the breakdown of the shutdown. So there are multiple agencies that get funded through the appropriations process. So there are what the present Senate bill that's been approved is that multiple agencies, including agriculture, education, etc. So they will get funded for the full year. Then extend funding for all other agencies, which gets left out till January 2026. In return, for approving this, Democrats demanded that Trump rehires all those fired during the funding lapse. At the point when the funding lapse occurred, when the shutdown, when there was no mechanism to clear the bill and no expenses could be incurred without the appropriation bill getting cleared, he fired a lot of people from the government. And what the Democrats are demanding or will get in return is rehire all those fired at that point of time. And then a vote, promise a floor vote in December to extend Obama tax credits. It's a clean vote, so it will be yes or no. And if it goes no, then they're willing to accept that the defeat. But this is where rubber meets the road in terms of whether it gets through. But Trump's point is all of this drama is because the appropriations bill is a tool that is going to be used by the Democrats to fund the illegals. That's his assertion, but there's no substantive truth behind how it was going to happen. He's always Trump. Sometimes, not sometimes, many a times he leaves facts out of the matter. But the budget was used by both parties. I want clean 1.5 trillion. No, you're not going to get 1.5 trillion. You're going to get nothing, and that's how the shutdown came. Next.
Sir, one question. Sachin, if you could, I don't know if you can blow this thing up a little bit bigger. It is hard to see. I mean, I can see it. Sir, you want to talk to this one, or you want us to try and make it even bigger?
No, you can. I will use my thing to see.
Just pinch your finger. Yeah, pinch the finger to bring it bigger. There's a lot of info here, sir.
No, I think that the basic truth is, what's the budget? The budget is about $6.8 trillion for 2024. Of which, how much is the $4.1 trillion spent? Which is namely, it's for mandatory. That includes Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. Then there is discretionary, which is 1.8 trillion. That's the one that gets funded through the appropriations. And then the interest, net interest. This is the interest that United States pays on the debt. So the fight was about, you have to pass annually the appropriations bill, the discretionary 1.8 trillion or 1.9 trillion, as the case may be. So the whole fight is around this. And this is where it funds various government programs. It funds various Social Security programs. When I say Social Security, I'm not talking about Social Security as a measure, but the money directed towards hospitals, money directed towards clinics in the vulnerable communities, etc. So that gets passed through the appropriations bill. What we call as the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗡 programs, the programs which are for climate, EV vehicles, etc. The subsidies, then subsidies for healthcare, etc. Veterans affairs, etc. If you recall, during the Biden time, they diverted close to $150 or $100 billion of veterans affairs programs and medical to fund the illegals, Medicare. So this is what prompted, and this is stuck, this is what prompted Trump to say, these guys want this $1.5 trillion to fund what he called as the illegals. And Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, shut it down and basically said there's no way it's going to get passed. And what we have is this dual twin mechanism of getting this budget appropriations unlocked and the shutdown eliminated. What are those two things? The two things is some of the government programs will get funded through the appropriation process. And there is no question of getting credits for the Obamacare. And there is no question of COVID programs, post-COVID programs. All that would be voted in the second phase in December, straight up or down. But some of the programs will get funded. And what exactly we will know soon, in the details. And the second is obviously those who got laid off will be taken back till such time some other mechanism comes into play, Sriji. That's the structure of the U.S. budget. These appropriation bills is an annual ritual, and if you have vote in the Senate, which Trump doesn't have, 60 votes, or it's not what you call bipartisan, you get into this kind of a situation.
Yes, indeed. Let's get back to the main deck, please. Thank you so much, Sachin, for expanding that picture and showing it to us. Let's get back to that. Let's go to the last slide after the next one. Yeah, sir, go ahead, sir.
So what is the 1.5 trillion catch? Restoring taxpayer-funded healthcare for undocumented immigrants. There you go. So, this is what was the 1.5 trillion comprised of. Restore the taxpayer-funded healthcare for the illegals. We were funding it, if you recall, right through the Biden era. Maintaining taxpayer-funded healthcare for able-bodied, non-working adults. So, in other words, those who are not working, but those who are able, they will get the healthcare and funded by those who are working. Permanently extending COVID-era Obamacare subsidies, which was again diverted, which is believed to be diverted towards the illegals. Then repealing 50 billion in rural healthcare funding for hospitals and clinics in vulnerable communities. So Mike Johnson basically said, "No way, Jose, and this is not. We are not going to accept this," and shut down the government. Now the point is that Trump took it and basically, without any details, said these Democrats want to fund illegals. And this number, because the Democrats said the $1.5 trillion has to be a clean bill, so the Trump took it apart by saying the Democrats want to fund the illegals. But there's no basis other than just the statement that came as the basis for committing the appropriations bill towards this purpose by the Democrats. Next slide.
I think that was the last slide, sir.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, Sridharji. Number one question is, why is it that the United States is obligated to give free medical benefits to illegals who did not take the permission? They are here illegally. Sir, the healthcare system is getting flooded, especially in California, where below Los Angeles and to the border, 5 million illegal immigrants are sitting, sir. This is the area that you start after Orange County. If you think about LA, right? It starts from there and goes down all the way to San Diego. 120 miles or 100 miles or something like that, by maybe about 300 miles rectangle, if you can imagine. This is where the bulk of the illegals are sitting. And America knows it. So why should a tax-paying US citizen bear the bill of all these people, sir? Sir, I'll tell you, my insurance costs are, it's not, I have to use a new word, sir. It's not even skyrocketing. And I'm healthy as an ox.
Well, Sriji, we have spoken about this for almost 4 years on this specific topic. Why we need to fund the illegals? Why prepaid cards loaded with money needed to be given? Why healthcare programs needed to be diverted to fund these people? Why for these illegals temporary work permits needed to be was given, and jobs were created? And why for these illegal workers, those who got these temporary work permits, and they use that as a basis for voting and staying back in the country, etc. So only Democrats, there was a very clear intent to change the demographics of the country. There's a very clear intent to open the floodgates and send them into various cities across various states, so that these people can benefit. I mean, the crime that increased during those 4 years, and all those laws that came into place. If you steal anything below $1,000, it became nobody cared about it, non-enforceable. I mean, there's no logic other than one party saying that somehow that's a legitimate way to do things, Sriji. There's no other logic.
Sir, Sridharji, I fail to understand why the Democrats are allowing themselves to be used like a carpet to sweep the floor by vested interests, sir. You and I know who the vested interests are. This is not Mr. Soros. Soros is the nonagenarian, doddering idiot. He's not the one who's doing it. Somebody behind him is doing it. Just like you saw the, what is that called? No King something. There was a protest across the state, cities. They wanted to show their power, muscle power on the streets. All of them, most of them are illegals. Send them out. And some, misguided so-called intelligentsia of the next generation. People, I don't know what they read. They don't seem to have comprehension of basic things. Common sense seems to be missing. That's okay. Let's leave it. Sridharji, so come December, are we going to have another tamasha like this, sir?
No, I think there is. They will reopen the government, and there is going to be an up or down vote. And if Democrats can persuade the Republicans to extend the Obamacare program, extend the tax credit, and extend some of those things, it's a straight vote. If they can persuade their fellow Republicans, either in the Senate or House, then it's a done deal. They will get it done. Now, as far as the first one is concerned, which is namely employing people who were fired by Trump, okay, they will be taken back, and Trump will find a way by which he can fire them again. So that's on that one. As far as some of the governmental departments, and I think that will go on a case-by-case basis, Sriji. I don't expect. I expect next drama to be in January 2026.
This is an interesting comment here. Illegal Americans come to Canada and use the NHS for their illness and operations. The emergency here in Canada do not refuse care, and they use the system to take care of their medical needs. Canadian doctors who care for them go unpaid. My dear man, what can I do? You have a government run by the deep state. What qualifications does your prime minister have to run the country? Why the hell did you all go and vote for him? Oh, you got pissed off because Trump said that he wants to make Canada the 51st state? It is because of many of you who are feeling that. Don't look at Toronto population, Montreal population, or Vancouver population. Look outside. Think of just read what Alberta is saying. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that what Trump said is right or wrong. I'm just saying people's sentiments. You have to understand. Why did you go and vote for somebody who has zero administrative experience? So you are also being used to wipe the floor. Yeah. I mean, this is a complete showdown between deep state and Trump administration. Personally, Trump, in my opinion, and I don't know who's winning, Sridharji, because somehow in Ukraine, United States is not able to come up with a clear-cut policy even today, sir. Just this one observation from you. I don't think we have any questions. Then we can wind up, sir.
I think around the dot, there's no resolution on any matter. You saw today Thailand and Cambodia gone. So there's no leadership. Most of these are hodgepodge.
Take a sip of water, sir. Take a sip of water, sir. No problem. Take a sip of water, sir. Yeah. So viewers, this book, Who Painted My Money White, I have a very detailed storyline about how ricin can be extracted from commonly available materials in and around you, and how you can use some special centrifuge equipment to purify it. Once you purify it at 99% purity, ricin can be deadly. And the whole book talks about it. Do read that book. Many of you, I'm sure, have read it because this is a bestseller in Amazon. This came about 5 years ago. It's done extremely well, and you will all understand. Maybe somebody read the book and they said, "Oh, okay, so ricin is available. Let's emulate what Sridhar is saying and do it." But the point I'm trying to make is there have been many such things in the past, and many will be there in the future. And it's the enemy is within us. And all I can tell you is people are really running down their own country. Muslims and Christians and other minorities living in India, you won't get a better lifestyle than this anywhere, not even in the West. See how everybody is hounding you out. This includes us also. I'm not in, the interesting thing about Dinesh D'Souza, why is saying that 40 years I was a conservative commentator, why are you jumping at me? Yeah, because you are color skin. MAGA is so dumb. And not all of MAGA, but what is it? Groypers. This is the group that, what's his name? Nick Fuentes has, started. I mean, so you have one extreme on one side, there's another extreme on the other side. Go figure it out, viewers. You have to be in the middle to run a country. Sir, you wanted to say something?
No, I think my apologies for that, for a minute break. So what I'm saying, Sriji, is that this is one of the worst kind of the whole presidential process and the governance on either side has gone completely astray. You look at some of the Trump's policies, I mean, it all seems to be like politicking for an agenda. You have Israel, Hamas, no resolution. You have Ukraine, Russia, all halabaloo, and it has gone out of kilter. You take this so-called show Thailand and Cambodia is that's gone. Then you think about this Iran and the Houthis. That's Yemen. So that's gone out of window. You talk about some of the economic programs and deals. Do we know what's happening with China on the rare earths? No. So the whole thing around these various programs, everybody clapping up and down that Trump needs to win the Nobel Prize, etc. All of that seems to be show and tell rather than any kind of resolution. Now we're coming to this budget process. The budget process is a complete mess. Already you take a look at the bill. This year, FY24, which will be finished through this appropriations, is $6.8 trillion. Already there is 5 to 6% increase in the FY25. Again, there's a significant amount of money stuck in the appropriations bill. Democrats demanding money, carte blanche for programs that has no economic relevance to this country. And then Trump kind of, using his own tools and techniques and ripping it apart and making claims without data behind it. There's no data behind except the number that the Democrats have asked for. So what we are witnessing is an extremely shoddy state of situation that the United States is in terms of its governance process, Sriji. Very, very shoddy. It doesn't mean that when the next year, when the elections are held, and if either one of the House or Senate goes to the goes to the Democrats, that things are going to get better if the present is an indication. The recent elections, especially in New York and Virginia and New Jersey, are an indication. It augurs more troubled times for the United States rather than anything positive coming out. You alluded to California. When California is with Prop 50, Democrats have got carte blanche. What they want to do, they can do, Sriji. There's nothing, nobody can stop them.
Absolutely, sir. I think one clarification, sir, that $900 thing has been removed about 6 months ago. You can be now jailed for any kind of theft. I think that I think people really pushed back and yelled and screamed. Sir, the whole place, in my opinion, is sold out to vested interests, sir. Whether it is Republicans or Democrats in California Assembly and Senate, I had nothing but scorn for them because I've talked to some of them. One-on-one, they are all great. But when it comes to voting, they all vote like sheep. I mean, you listen to it. I'm giving you a earful because you deserve to listen to. You don't deserve to be in the Assembly or the Senate. I would lock, stock, throw out these bunch and get another set. Maybe they'll be a little bit better. That's all I can hope. Beyond that, we can't do much. Sir, thank you so much.
The $900 I was alluding to in that 4-year period, many of the things that happened is what I'm alluding to. Not now. I mean, because there's a lot of good things that Trump has done in terms of evacuation of, forced eviction of illegals, ICE programs, the government funded, from defunding to funding the additional cops to improve the security of the cities, sending army into some of the states to quell, sending what you call the National Guard. So many of those things have happened. But the point is, why did in first place the Democrats allow this to occur? What's the rationale? I think that's what I'm trying to allude to, because it's beyond logic. Unless they wanted to take the country backward. Anyway, that's besides the point. But let us hope. But then Trump has not, he was voted for achieving certain things. Better jobs, law and order, evicting the illegals. So it's about 4 or 5 programs which form the basis. Instead of focusing on that, he got himself into, he started to do that. I'm not suggesting he didn't. then we got into this whole hogwash around the tariffs. Now, Supreme Court is going to rule shortly whether the tariffs are legal or illegal, and Trump is prepared to move in case the Supreme Court SCOTUS rules against him. But this whole drama is creating what I call as a state of chaos and confusion in the present state of governance. And I am now told that as the news comes out, and I'm told that Trump and J.D. Vance, the vice president, will not be attending the G20 meeting in South Africa. Why they will not be attending? They'll not be attending. They made a case against Cyril Ramaphosa that he has been targeting and attacking the white Afrikaner farmers. Whether it is the case or not, we haven't seen the proof come out, but he will not be attending. Now, Vladimir Putin will not come because he has got an ICC arrest order pending on him. And South Africa said they are an ICC signatory and they'll be compliant. And Mr. Xi Jinping is not coming. So what's happening to G20 and what's happening to G7? Falling apart. So the mechanisms, as well as the broad international bodies, which historically have used to resolve global issues and funding, is falling apart as well. What happens to Global South program if all these guys don't turn up? Well, that is falling apart as well. What's going to happen to the BRICS programs? Well, the so-called BRICS programs. We don't know as yet whether Mr. Modi is going to turn up, but that doesn't seems very evident. So when you look at this kind of international situation and the U.S. domestic situation, what we are witnessing is a very sad state of lack of leadership, governance, and a proper economic management of the world, Sridhar.
Thank you so much, sir. Viewers, that's all for now. We'll be back again with Sridharji if there's any breaking news during the middle of the week. But in the meantime, I'd request you all to come back in about 20 minutes time, where General Hari Mohan Iyer and I discuss this new all-in-all role for Asim Munir. We'll see what that means from a defense point of view. Thank you so much, sir. We'll see you soon. Namaskar.
Namaskar ji.